Welcome, welcome, welcome to episode 16 of the Step One podcast, where we help you take your first step or your next steps in business and in life. And I got a great guest this time. Our guest is a millennial power broker out of Long Island, New York. And I want to go through his bio quickly because this guy's an absolute powerhouse. Founder of Long Island's #1 real estate sales team. They did over $100 million in sales last year, over 200 closed sides. It's only been in the business just under 4 years, which is absolutely freaking ridiculous. Top 20 under 40 winner. 2020 Coldwell Banker 30 under 30 awards. Got 20 plus agents on his team. He's expanding into multiple states. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here. And thank you for that intro too. That was very good.
Of course, bro. I mean, dude, we got to dive into all this. So first thing I always like to do. I love it, man. Well, listen, I want to dive into your background, man. Like before you were this power broker, before you even got into real estate, like would you have bet on Dan years ago to be who you are today? Or was this like a complete surprise?
That's actually a good question when you put it that way. To be honest with you, I always knew I was going to be successful, but when I was younger, I kind of fell into a little bit of a rut after college. So I was working in the hospitality industry. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do just yet. I was working 80 to 100 hours a week. I was drinking like a 22, 23-year-old that was working 80 hours a week.
Sure.
I got promoted to become the general manager of a pretty popular restaurant. At 23, I was making good money. So I thought, and I just fell into this, kind of like depression state where, I was drinking all the time. I was overworked. I was burnt out, and I wasn't really sure what direction I was going to go in, so it could have really honestly went either way. I always knew I was going to be successful somehow, but I was pretty close to not being and falling into that trap and never making anything out of myself and, letting everyone down. So I'm glad that I was able to kind of turn it around and bet on myself. And to be honest though, if even though I knew I would be successful, I didn't think that everything would have taken off. And I don't think I would have been in the position that I am today just yet, if that makes sense.
Sure. So, all right, let's talk about that a little bit. So where'd you go to college?
I went to Coastal Carolina.
Okay, cool. Nice, man. And then what'd you study?
Barely anything. I was a business management major with a minor in Spanish. Yeah, kind of, I guess.
Did you expect just because I'm always curious because, most people don't follow their degrees, but you were kind of had an itch for business at that time, or, was that not something you thought about?
It was generally just what I thought I could get the heck out of there and get a degree in.
Really?
I mean, I was a minor in Spanish, man, I didn't know what I was going to do with that. I still, I like Spanish music, I guess. Right. But at that point, I was just trying to do whatever I could to get out of there and graduate. My father had a business up here, landscape design business. So I wasn't sure if maybe that was the direction I was going to go into, but I did always know that I wanted to be a business owner, but I really didn't treat college very seriously, to be honest.
I understand. Yeah, I'm a two-time college dropout.
Where'd you go to school?
I just went to a community college by me.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I love that, man. So you're like 22, 23, just out of college, you're working your ass off. Very similar story to me. Like, I was working 80 hours a week for somebody else. And then something a bug bit you saying that like, I got to get into this real estate game, or what ended up happening?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to be my own boss, and I knew that if I was putting in the 80 to 100 hours a week that I was in the restaurant business, if I had just done that for myself, right, because I was making the same amount of money each week, no matter what, if I just bet on myself and if I, put those same hours into my own business, I had to be successful. And I always had a passion for real estate. I always loved it. And fortunately for me, I had one of my buddies who was in the mortgage business at the time, and he mentioned that the direct partner, like the brokerage that he worked with, was having like a new agent open house. So he like invited me. I sat down. They hired me, right? And I at that time I'm like, oh shit, I got a job. Like, it's pretty sick, I'm in. I didn't know that you can kind of pick and choose whatever. Sure. So fortunately, I got my license while I was working at the restaurant. I saved up like 2 or 3 months worth of rent, and I just quit and I was out, and I just dove right into real estate.
Yeah, it's funny. I did the same thing. Like, I quit. I was working that 80-hour, 100-hour work weeks. And I had to quit. I quit my job before I even got licensed because I knew I couldn't do both. Right.
That's
well, I mean, like, look, I mean, like, you took the same leap of faith, man. I mean, like, and tell me about your first year in the business. Was it what you expected? Better than you expected? Worse than you expected?
It was. Can I curse? It was.
Yeah.
It was fucking miserable, man. And my first year was brutal. And like, you read off some of the awards I won. I almost quit 100 times. I had the most insane deals die. Every deal was a for sale by owner. I was bringing my father with me, pretending like he was a buyer. I got caught doing it like 4 or 5 times. I still got the listings. I was going to people's houses and cleaning their houses for them to like help them move. Like it was, I had a house at one of my first listings. Like it was a, over here, we call them like a high ranch. So they're 2-level homes, right? But they're, you know, it's a single family house. So I had my first house, I couldn't even show the 3-bedroom part of the house. I can only show the garage and like half of the basement because there's a tenant. So, you know, how the hell do you even do that? And I sold it. So like, oh, my first year was an absolute nightmare. I almost quit 30 times, but you know, I knew that if I survived that, it couldn't have gotten any worse. So that was kind of my motivation. And then obviously once you start getting the checks too, it's like, all right, well.
I was going to say, so how much you end up making your first year?
That's a really good question. My first year, I probably made like 60 grand, 70 grand.
You beat me. I was $29,000.
It's 29 in your first year is good. And then, you know, there's a 98% failure rate after 2 years. And people wonder why. It's like,
Sure.
How do you survive off of $29,000 in, you know, central New Jersey? You can't even pay rent.
I 100% agree. So like, okay, so you get your license, you make like 60 grand, you kind of fail forward. I love the story so far. And then what told you had to start a team? Did you, you know, you were like, someone came to you and like, what happened there?
So I started off individually. I did have success by myself, and I was getting so busy that I'm like, I can't be doing 3 open houses every single weekend, you know, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock. It was miserable. So I'm like, maybe if I join a team, I'll get some guidance. You know, if I did 10 deals without even knowing how to write up a sales agreement or a contract or anything, I don't even know what half of the shit is. If I join a team, maybe I'll get some, you know, experience. I'll get help. People can help me with the open houses. So I kind of did it reverse. Started off by myself, joined a team. When I was on the team, I kind of realized that I think I was already graduating from it. And I had people reaching out to me through social media and through my videos that were like, hey, we really want you to start a team, or can we join the team? And it took one person who had just graduated from Albany, and he's still with me today, Justin Soriano. He sent me an email to be my assistant. I'm like, I don't really need an assistant right now, but like, if he wants to come and join me, we should just start our own team. Sure. And that's kind of, you know, what it was like, a super like unorganized, nothing, no motive, like nothing behind it.
When was that? Was that like a year in, 2 years in?
Yeah, it was about a year and a few months in. And it was really interesting because then I had a couple of my friends that got the real estate license, and we kind of just all were brand new and just like dove right into it. And fortunately we were young, hungry, and, you know, we had success right away. But I think the most important thing was that I saw what my split was. I saw what was happening when I was on the team. And it made me realize that I didn't want to be that way. So I learned what I didn't like from the team, and I was able to implement that into my team now. And I'm fortunate to say that if I have 21 agents with me in 2.5 years, only 2 people have left, and both left within like the last couple of weeks. And typically teams are, you know, as you know, revolving door, right? Deals, they're out. You know, I've only had 2 people leave so far, and knock on wood, I think that's my biggest accomplishment, really.
That's amazing. Yeah, I feel like it's interesting where it's like talk to a lot of successful brokers or big teams, and it's a lot of the same thing where like they were on a team and they're like, you know what, I could do this better, faster, stronger, you know, in every single facet. So I like that happened. Same thing to me. Mm-hmm. You know, I wasn't happy with the team that I was on. I actually quit the business. I was so pissed. Yeah, I was so frustrated. I quit the business for 6 months and then came back in and started my own team. So pretty similar story. I love it so far. So then, you know, so you start your own team, and then like, where did the momentum, I mean, that you guys have now is unbelievable. You know, I see it from only the social media lens, but, you know, tell me about like more the day to day. I mean, like you went from that one assistant email to now 21 agents. I mean, there's a lot of in between here.
Yeah. And back to, you know, a point that you had where like everyone kind of thinks that they can do it right on their own. I challenge anyone to go off and do their own thing. You know, there's a lot of people that, you know, they have that similar sentiment, but you have to have the money lined up. You have to have leads. You have to have business, market share, branding, marketing, all these things. You know, people don't really understand that, and they think, oh, it's so easy. Like Dan O'Neill's got a team, and, you know, you have a team, and this, that. It's not that easy, you know? Okay. But when we really started picking up momentum was really from a lot of the social media stuff. You know, I started doing these crazy listing videos where I jumped out of a helicopter. I rented a horse and rode it on a listing's front lawn. Never ridden a horse in my life. I was on a jet ski. I started doing spoofs on like movies and stuff. And each and every single one we did kind of started picking up more momentum, you know, in my local market. And then also, you know, just in the real estate industry in general. And then from there, you know, we were setting records because we were getting a crazy amount of views. And who the hell is this kid? He's 25, 26 years old. He's jumping out of a helicopter for a $500,000 house, you know? So then word kind of started spreading around, and just did right by people, did the right thing, never screwed anybody over, always took it off the chin. And the referrals started coming in, and we started making money, started, putting money back into the business and leads. And, now we're where we are.
I love that. So 2 follow-up questions. So where the heck did these videos come from? Like what told you that you had to jump out of a helicopter? Was that
To be honest, it really was just in my market. I mean, same with you. You're in New Jersey. We're in some of the most competitive. I think the 2 most competitive markets, maybe like in the country, honestly. Maybe aside from like Miami or like Orange County or something. But
Sure.
There's so many people that have the real estate license. Everyone you talk to knows 6 or 7 people, whether it's a friend, a teacher, a cousin, right? Like, everybody knows somebody that's in real estate. So I'm 25 years old. I'm competing against these people that have been doing this for 30 years. Then this guy sold my mom's house, and I'm going on a listing appointment against him. How the hell am I going to beat him? So I figured, well, one way to do it maybe is just be unique, be different, bring some entertainment into this, because at that time too, like there really wasn't much of these funny listing videos going on. Like there wasn't a lot of real estate humor or comedy. It was really the broke agent was posting his memes.
Sure.
And like, that was really it. And Matt Leonetti was doing it very similarly, but in a different style.
Yep.
So I was like, I think this is a perfect opportunity to bring comedy and have fun too, because this business can be fucking draining, man. Sorry to curse again, but it can be very, very draining. So to have fun with it, be unique, and just be myself, that was really the biggest thing. I'll never jump out of a helicopter again, but
I was going to say, so like, how did that get set up?
So I tried to do it myself, right? Like just literally just like parachute, whatever, skydive, but you had to train for like 72 hours. So I had to have like this guy jumped on my, he was with me on my back, had the camera, and then we just landed in the backyard, and it was like this whole big spectacle.
And then I'm guessing you sold the house.
$100,000 over ask.
Really?
Yeah, yes, sir.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, cool. Well, listen, I also want to dive into a little bit around your team. So what are some like the biggest lessons you learned when it came to building your team now?
Some of the biggest lessons.
Like if I come to you, I'm a newer agent, I'm about to, I say, Dan, what are your top tips around joining a team or building a team? What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is you have to be prepared. You have to have, like I said, you have to have the money in the bank to spend on people. You have to deal with the anxiety, right? Like if I have 21 people on my team now, I can say 18 of them are absolutely crushing it. 18 of them have changed their lives, right? And that's something that you have to sleep with every single night. So if you bring somebody on and you let them flutter and fail, it's kind of on you. On the flip side of that, if you're able to help them and they are able to change their lives and their families' lives, it's the best feeling in the world. We were talking about it prior to hopping on the podcast about, at the end of the day, if I was by myself with a couple buyers agents, I probably would either make equal or more money than I am now. I would have so much less stress, so much less anxiety. I'd have more time off. Like my life would probably be a little bit easier, but I get like a high off of seeing my team succeed and seeing what we're able to do and accomplish. So back to the original question. I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent there, but the biggest thing is just you got to be prepared. You have to have leads for the team. You have to have inventory, you have to have branding, marketing, video, social media, and you have to have training. Most agents, there's probably 40,000 agents in your market. 29,000 of them probably have no clue what the hell they're doing. So you have to have training in place for these people and make sure that, you're keeping them accountable.
Yeah. So, okay. So I just want to talk a little bit about this so people understand like when they're starting a team. So let's be specific. So you say money in the bank. You have like if you're coaching somebody, you say like, I suggest this amount of money in the bank, like 6 months of reserves, a year of reserves. What do you recommend?
By yourself or starting a team?
So we're starting a team.
I would probably say a year. So prime example was when COVID first hit. We were all locked down, Jersey, New York. We couldn't show houses, we couldn't do anything. A lot of people were taking their money out of Zillow and putting it in their pocket, rightfully so.
Yeah.
I doubled down because I always put money aside, and I knew that eventually, hopefully, knock on wood, the world had to go back to somewhat of a normalcy. So while everybody was taking their money out of Zillow, I took my 6-month reserve, my mortgage, and I put it all on zip codes that now people would pay me 10 times the amount of money to get back into,
Sure.
So if you're starting a team, I would honestly say a year with the reserves, because at that time too, you got to think we weren't closing deals for probably 4, 5, 6 months. Yeah. So I didn't see any of that money for 6 months on top of all the bills that I had to pay and all the stuff that I have in my own personal life. So if you're starting a team, I really do believe you have to have at least a year in reserves.
I like that a lot. Yeah. So then, okay. So a year worth of reserves. I like that. Second point, you said leads. Are you a big Zillow? It sounds like you're a big Zillow guy.
I am, and I am because it's good for the new agents. You know, it allows them to get experience. It allows them to see the process, write up offers, get acceptance, you know, deal with the transaction and facilitating. And I would much rather learn on a Zillow lead, honestly, than I would as if it were my cousin or my friend or my family or somebody I knew. So to get that beginning experience when you're not really getting those referrals and you're not getting that sphere of influence business, Zillow is such a great way to begin that. And then you start building up the perception. You close a couple of Zillow deals, people start seeing, oh, wow, you're doing pretty well for yourself. You're closing deals. Now your sphere, your Facebook friends, your family, your cousins, now they're going to trust you as opposed to saying, well, you know, Dan, you just got your license. What have you done? Sure. So I'm a big proponent of Zillow. And I've been since day one, I would say.
Cool. So then, all right. So then let's talk about now for brand new agents, right? I'm John Smith, the realtor. I just got my license today. I'm active. And what do I do first? What are my first 3 moves?
Join a team that's going to supply you with leads, marketing, video, social media, the whole 9.
You're a big fan of someone joining teams right off the bat?
At this point, teams are now and the future. If you're a new agent, because the thing is, you join a brokerage, you're going to get lost in the sauce. You're going to get beaten every single time by a team or a team member, somebody that has those leads, has the social media, has the video, everything. So if you're a brand new agent right now, join a team 1000%. Second thing is educate yourself. Go get Big Money Energy, the book. Go get, you know, Gary Keller, $1 Million Agent. Go buy Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Be watching every single, you know, Over Ask or Tom Ferry podcast, Byron Lazine. Follow the people that have the education out there for you and learn. So that, secondly, is educate yourself, and third is like follow your team lead or follow somebody around. Right? Ask to shadow somebody in your office. Do open houses. Go to inspections. The more that you're in your office and the more that you're surrounded by people doing the business and hearing their problems and the solutions, the quicker that you're going to learn, the more educated you're going to be and the more confident you're going to be. Because the worst is when, you know, you're brand new and someone asks you something, you have no clue, right? Like, is the house gas or oil? I would sit there, I would wait. I'd be like, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, the husband would be like, oh, it's gas. I'm like, yeah, gas. So, you know, it's better to educate yourself and know these things to be the neighborhood expert. And that way your confidence comes out.
Sure. All right, sweet. So then, okay, now let's change up the pace a little bit. I want to dive into investments.
Okay.
So are you a big, like, do you own any real estate investment deals? When someone comes, you know, like what's your take on real estate investing versus the stock market?
This could be a controversial take, but I don't really.
That's the point. I want it to be controversial.
Right. Well, this could be clickbaiting then because I don't know shit about the stock market. I don't know shit about crypto, NFTs. I don't get any of it. I truly don't. And I don't have the time to sit here and learn. And for me, I know real estate. I know that real estate makes the most millionaires in the world. So for me, of course, I have money in the stock market. I have people that manage it. I have my SEP, I have my IRAs, that kind of thing. But I'm not sitting here day trading. I'm not sitting here, you know, on Coinbase checking crypto every 10 seconds like some of my buddies in LA. I would much rather own real estate, refi, get my money out, have rentals, have the portfolio. And that's just what I believe in. It's what I know. So I feel safe doing it. And the other thing too, is a lot of people don't realize like lending hard money is a really, really safe and easy way to earn 10%, 12% back on your money in 6 months. If I went and bought a stock right now, God forbid in a month, something, you know, whatever could possibly happen, that money could be zero by the time I lend out this hard money. I know what the ARV is. I know what the house is worth. I know what it's going to sell for, how long it's going to take. So I know I'm getting my money back and I'm getting it at a 10, 12% rate with interest. So that's really what I've been doing to invest on top of some of the purchases and stuff like that.
Cool. All right. So let's talk about that for a second, right? So I want people to understand, right? Because we're on the same page, right? Like I agree 100%. Like, you know, I got my money in the stock market and in crypto, but I don't know what the heck it's doing. I have it there because like I know
30 grand in one day. I was fucking sick to my stomach. So after that, I'm like, and then I'm sitting there because it's like constant, right? Like this crypto shit goes like this, right?
Yep.
So
it's immediate.
I totally understand that there's so much money to be made in it. If you've got it in the right time, the whole 9, totally understand the metaverse, NFTs, it's probably all the future. I totally get it. It's just, it's not me. And I don't have the capacity to sit down and learn it right now. And
sure,
you know, if we miss the boat on it, we miss the boat on it, but I'm sticking with real estate and that's it.
I'm sure our boats will be fine.
Yes.
So, right. So let's talk about, so you said you like to invest like hard money and get a percent return. So talk to me about, I know exactly what you're talking about. I want my listeners to hear about it a little bit. So what kind of deals are you looking at? Explain it a little bit.
Yeah. So essentially, I work with a lot of investors on Long Island, and they rely on me to be their acquisition manager. So I'll go to a house that maybe somebody calls for a cash offer for that doesn't want to list it for whatever reason. Maybe they're in distress. Maybe somebody passed away. Maybe they just don't want to deal with putting it on the market. Whatever the case is, I go to the house. I say, okay, it needs $100,000 worth of work, and the house is worth 500 grand. Just easy math.
Yep.
Investor A, you should buy it for 200. So they buy the house, they flip it, they put it back on the market. That money that they laid out, they were really only putting out probably 5 grand of their own money. The rest of that money, they're borrowing from hard money investors or people who are giving them the money. So I lend the hard money, right? So let's say it's $150,000. They put up their 50 or whatever. And I know that the house is going to be fixed, flipped, and renovated. And I know it's going to be 2 months, 3 months until it's on the market. I know it's going to take 60 days to close. So in 5 or 6 months, I lay out 150 grand. I now get interest in every single month on that money. And then at the end, I get my lump sum of anywhere from 8% to 12%, depending on how much money you lend out.
Got it. Okay, cool. So so typically you're lending this out on fix and flip deals?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, like, cause I do exactly that, right? We do a lot of the same stuff, right? So I'm normally the investor, and I'm raising capital. So, and I'm flipping the deal, right? So I find out, find people just like yourself, pay them out 8 to 12% interest, and exactly paying back in 4 to 6 months on that deal.
Yeah.
Which is like, I want people to realize, like, listen, you don't need to have all the money, right? That's the big thing here, right? Like,
that's the whole thing. These guys, they're not even using this. They don't even use their own money. They're finding the deal. That's it. And then they're using other people's money, and then they're making 100, 200, maybe even more on the flip. Yeah. Without even breaking their bank.
Exactly. So like that's the, and again, a lot of people hear it. It is very clickbaity. We're like, buying houses with no money down, flip houses, no money down. And it is true. We're like, listen, it's all about the deal. If you can find deals, you can, the money comes. Like, that's not the hard part. It's finding the deals. So,
we're literally, one of the guys that I work with now, he's a young kid, he's our age. He went from, let's just say, maybe doing 2 deals a year to all of a sudden he's got 25 deals under contract right now in 1 month. And banks are calling this kid every hour, begging to lend him money. They're begging to lend him money. He hasn't touched a single dollar of his own money in, I don't know, probably 6 months, 7 months. So there's so many different ways, whether you're selling, whether you're investing, whether you're flipping, there's so many ways to make money in this business that I truly think it's the best business, one of the hardest ever, but I also think it's the best business in the world.
Yeah, I love that.
You get what you give.
How are you finding your off-market deals?
A lot of them are pay-per-click. A lot of them are drive-bys. A lot of them are direct mail, probate lists, short sales,
the whole
advertising, right? Like we have like a TV commercial out there.
Really? How's that going?
And social media, it's really good. I mean, one of my buddies that I work with, one of the investors, he puts out like how I do the funny content on Instagram. He puts that on like our local TV station. So like we'll be like getting gas or something. I'll be with him, and people are like, "Holy crap! Like you're the handsome home buyer. Like, can I get a picture with you?" All because he's got some silly jingle on, Channel 5. It's funny. A lot of people call from it.
Sure. No, I like that a lot. So, okay, cool. So then, I mean, what's next for you, man? Like, what's the big vision? What's the goal? What's the dream?
That's a good question. I think the big vision, big goal for me is to expand. We're going down to Florida. We're going down to the Carolinas. I really want to continue with the social media stuff and the content. I was telling you earlier, I'm starting a podcast with a broke agent. We just filmed it in Vegas. So I'm really excited about that. He's going to be launching a website. We're going to be launching a course together. So there's a lot of really cool, social media side of things that we're doing, and just continuing to expand the team and just trying to grow the brand to as big as we can get. And then eventually, maybe step out of production and be more of a manager, facilitator, or be able to go fly back and forth to Florida and New York and the Carolinas, do social media. I think that's really it. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm 27. My idea of that changes every single day. Like I'm sitting here, I'm about to put my house up for sale. That idea came to me 5 days ago. So every day it changes,
I love that, man. Yeah, listen, I mean, like life is really what you make of it, what you can create, what as big as you can think, right? I mean, that's all that life really becomes.
Absolutely. What about you? Same question to you.
Um, I want to be the next Grant Cardone, man. Like I want to own, 10,000 units, a couple of billion under management. You know,
Oh,
I love to step out of production in 12 months.
oh yeah,
And just focus more on the investment side of things. But
absolutely.
yeah, man, it's like I feel like the real estate world is ever evolving, ever shifting.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
listen,
like
you don't even know what's gonna happen in the next 3 to 5 years.
100%.
You and I could be both back in college. Like there's no way to tell. The biggest thing is if we just keep doing the right thing, keep doing what we're doing now, even if the market does shift, change, whatever.
Sure.
The people like us that are doing the right thing, we're gonna be all right.
Absolutely. So then let's talk about social media for a little bit because I know that you are taking things to a whole different level. I'm a big social media guy too, and I'm always trying to shift and adjust and make things better. And like I know that you believe brand is everything,
Yep.
right? So like let's talk about like where do you think social media is going? What do you think's like? What's your big shift right now? What's your big focus when it comes to social media?
It's another really good question. So I don't know if you saw, I did a video on the Grinch around Christmas time, right? And it's my favorite video I've ever made. It is the production, everything was like, in my opinion, it was the best I've ever done. But it was a 3-minute long video, and it didn't really do the numbers that I thought it was going to do. And what I'm learning is, and that's a problem for me because I'm putting out 20-minute vlogs, I'm putting out these 4-minute, like extensive listing videos where I'm acting something out, I'm making a spoof on the Netflix show You. They're 4-minute long videos, 3-minute long videos. Not many people, no one's watching those anymore. Everybody's attention span is like, if you don't get them in the first 5 seconds,
Like
they're
30
gone.
seconds. Yeah.
Literally 30. And it's like, it's getting lower and lower and lower.
Yeah.
And that's because of TikTok, right? Like TikTok is 15 seconds. So, and you're on to the next video.
Sure.
So it's been difficult for me to adjust from making these high level, like crazy script production listing videos. Like I can't jump out of a helicopter and show a house in 15 seconds. It's insane.
Come on, man. Speed it up, damn it.
So my next adjustment is I just did a Bachelor spoof. It went the most viral out of anything I've ever done. It got 300,000 views. I had the Bachelorettes commenting on it, which was sick because I'm single. So, but it was because I made it 60 seconds. It was a 60-second reel. I hated it. I hated the video. I thought it was the worst I've ever done. And it was the most viral and the most commented on video I've ever done. So
where do you come up with those ideas?
What are you saying?
How are you coming up with those ideas? Like, what are you looking for?
I saw a commercial for The Bachelor and I was like, oh, that'd be kind of funny if like, instead of me giving roses to girls, like I give it to like potential buyers agents, for the house. I did The Most Interesting Man in Real Estate. So I did a spoof off of the Dos Equis Man. My favorite is Dos Equis. I just made it real estate related.
Sure.
You ever seen Office Space?
Yep.
When they beat up the printer with the bat. So I was like, oh, I could do that. And instead of like it being a printer, it's like, Zillow, data inspector, it's like, so all these ideas just come from me. Like I was watching Shark Tank last night. I'm like, oh, that'd be a pretty funny idea. Like I have 4 judges, right? Like I'm Mark Cuban and let people come up and pretend like they're buyers agents or, they want to join the team. So it's literally just, I'll be sitting around watching something or seeing something and it just kind of pops into my head.
And do you have like a full production crew?
Yeah. So now I have a full-time media crew that are with me, 5 days a week. In the beginning, it was just a freelance thing, but now, I mean, they were just in Vegas with us. They follow me. They're with me everywhere.
Man, I love that, man. Yeah, it's really what it's becoming. It's becoming like a literally a vlog world.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, you want to be the next Grant Cardone. I'm trying to model my brand and my business and the social media off of Sirhan. I think I have the potential. Of course, I don't have a major TV show, and I'm not selling $100 million penthouses, but I think I have a very unique personality. I think that I continue to do the right thing and give back, and people like getting behind that kind of thing. So I think I have the potential to do something very special because I am 27, and with or without a TV show, that's who I'm trying to surpass.
I love that, man. I think that's so big, right? So then you're looking to expand down to, you said like Florida and the Carolinas?
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's where everybody from New York is heading down there.
Smart.
Snow. How much snow is on the ground we're in Jersey right now? 4 feet?
Yeah, now we got about a foot and a half.
If you saw how hard I fell in my driveway this morning, I laid on my driveway for probably about 5 minutes while my 14-year-old neighbor was laughing at me because there's 4 feet of snow on the ground here. And I guess I didn't do a good job shoveling my driveway and I fell on my ass, and I am so sick of the snow.
I literally told my fiance, I was like, listen, next time I see a snow warning, we're flying to Florida immediately.
Honestly.
Yeah. So, all right. Last part of the podcast, I have rapid fire questions. This is 4 questions asked every guest. Number 1, if you had to restart today from absolute zero, no connections, no nothing, what are the first 3 steps you're going to be making to rebuild everything you got?
I would pick a certain few neighborhoods that I knew very well or that I was familiar with, and I would door knock every single one, and I would put handwritten notes in every single mailbox.
Mhm.
I would do the same thing that I did in the very beginning. I would for sale by owner, right? I'm calling every for sale by owner, every expired, any number, any name I can get my hand on, that if there's an expired listing, that means that they want to sell one way or the other.
Yep.
So maybe it was a poor agent, bad marketing, maybe it was overpriced. So once you have that for sale sign out on your front lawn, you already have it in your head that you're selling. It's just a matter of when. For sale by owner is the same reason. There's always what's the main reason why somebody lists for sale by owners? Because of commission.
Sure.
So if you want to sell, so that's expired, for sale by owners. I'm door knocking, and I am calling every person that is on my Facebook, my Instagram, my MySpace, my whatever the hell, WhatsApp, whatever you got. I'm calling every single person I know. Hey, what's going on? It's Dan O'Neill. I'm sorry you haven't heard from me in a long time, but I just want to let you know I got my real estate license. If you or anyone you know is looking to buy, sell, invest, advice, anything, please let me know. And I'm doing that every day for 10 hours. And then after that, for another 8 hours, I'm going to be on, YouTube watching Tom Ferry podcasts and videos. And that way, in the very beginning, like I told you earlier, I didn't know shit. But Tom Ferry knows everything, or at least a lot. So I would just recite what he would say verbatim. And people are like, what the hell? How long have you been doing this for? I'd be like, a couple of years. Meanwhile, it's literally, I was just telling them, like I'm reciting what Tom Ferry's saying. So that would be those would be my 3 things, or 4.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, I feel like a lot of brand new agents don't focus enough time on lead gen. It's like the simplest thing in the freaking world, and everyone overthinks it. Pick up the phone and don't stop calling.
That is the most important thing in a 1099 business where you're not getting a salary, you're not getting any money. You got to hop on the phone. And I have agents all the time, and it's the same thing with video too. They refuse to get on video. They refuse to make the cold calls. Oh, I'm too shy. I'm too nervous. I don't want to door knock. What happens if they slam the door in my face? What happens if they tell me to, kick rocks? Who gives a shit? Number 1, you'll never see them again. Number 2, they're not going to remember. They don't care, right? People are just going to go on with their day. They got a million other things to worry about.
I know.
You got to be on the phone.
I was the kind of person when I first started the business, I did not want a cold call. You couldn't pay me to make a cold call.
Really?
Yeah, at the beginning. And then, obviously I kind of fell in love with it, but
it's like a challenge. Like I found it. So what I used to do is I would tell, and it was like sort of actually, no, it wasn't the truth at all. I would tell him I had a buyer, and I'd bring my dad. My father's truck would say O'Neill and Welishar. He had a landscape business, so it's my last name. So I would tell him to park a mile down and we'll go to the house together, right? But I always got the appointment because I was innocent. I wasn't trying to get the listing. Hey, I just want to bring a buyer. So then I go there, I get to know them. I don't go for the listing. I just walk my dad around the house. And, eventually, I'm telling you, I literally got like probably 10 listings out of it. But then I started to get caught. And, one day I was a police detective, and we're at his house, and I'm crushing it. Guy loves me. He looks out the window, and my dad was in a rush, parked literally right outside. And he goes, wait a minute, you're Dan O'Neill? He's like, are you Dan O'Neill too? And my dad's like, yeah. And so he caught us flat out, but he was like, you know what? I respect your hustle. The fact that you even did this, listing is yours. And since then, that guy's given me probably 75 deals. So, the biggest thing is just getting out of your own head. And like the social media stuff too, my team all the time, I'm self-conscious. I don't look good. I don't like the way I look on camera. You're the only one that like, nobody notices your insecurities, right? Like I got eczema on my face. I'm getting gray hairs over here at 27. I'm exhausted right now, but all these insecurities that I have, sure, you're probably not even picking up on it, right? I'm the only one that's really noticing it. So
I mean, I can see that one gray hair. I don't know.
So, but listen, if it's going to make you money, right? If you pick up that phone, or if you knock on that door and 100 people slam it in your face, but one person gives you a listing and that's 10 grand, 15 grand, whatever it is,
sure.
Every door, every call, every video, you should equate to potentially making that money.
Yeah, no, I love that, man. Beautiful. All right, number 2. If today was your last day, my friend, and you only had this very moment to give some advice to your future kids, your future family, the people around you, what would that one piece of advice be?
It would be not to take any day for granted, any day or any person in your life for granted. It's important to, and it's something that I really this last year kind of like woke up and realized, because you don't build this business, in 3 years by slacking off and by, not working hard. So I killed myself the last 3 years. I lost a relationship because of it. I got a romantic. I lost my girlfriend because of it. A lot of family was mad at me. I lost some friends. I was disappeared for 2 years, 2.5 years. And,
Yep.
It was tough for me because I'm 27 and, I wanted to build this business. So I sacrificed a lot. I sacrificed everything. But at the end of the day, I could walk outside right now and I could have slipped and fell like I did earlier. And instead of breaking my back and my neck hurting, I could have slammed my head on the ground. I could be dead. I could go outside, and not to get, morbid, but
Sure.
you never know when your last day on earth is, and you blessed every single day. Like, we both healthy, right? Family's healthy. You have those things. It's really, really important to take time away from your phone and make sure that you're present with these people. And it's something I'm guilty of doing every single day. So
Sure.
the pot calling the whatever kettle black here, but it's something that I'm working on, and I'm cognizant of it.
Yeah, no, great advice. Great advice. Number 3, what is one thing that you would say to a struggling agent out there right now who's about to quit? You years ago, when you first started, about to quit, right? They're either a real estate agent or they're an entrepreneur, and they're just on the cut. They're crying every day. They're frustrated, about to quit. What do you say to them?
Tell them to look in the mirror. Why are you struggling? Why are you about to quit? It's pretty simple to blame a brokerage. It's pretty easy to blame everything else, right? The world's against you. You complain, right? And it's never your fault. But if you take a second, you look in the mirror and you ask yourself what you're doing to get business, to get leads, how many hours a week are you putting into the business? I'm sure you'll probably put 2 and 2 together and realize that, it's not your brokerage. It's not, karma. It's not life's fault. It's you. And, it's very easy to blame everybody else, but it's difficult to look yourself in the mirror and say, I need to make a change. How many hours a week am I putting into the business? Definitely not enough. How many cold calls am I making? Am I really putting in the right energy, effort, and work into it? And I think that's something that for me, I did for sure. And something clicked after that.
Beautiful. Take 100% ownership. I love that. Super. All right, last one here, which is, what is one skill or habit that you're currently working on, or that you have felt that it was an absolute game changer in your business?
Damn, you got some good questions, man. Shit. I would say structure and systems and operations. So literally up until 3 months ago, I didn't even know what my accounting was. Like, I had my accounting in like a marble notebook. Can you imagine that? 200 plus deals in a marble notebook. No systems, no structures, no onboarding, no nothing. It was literally just free for all.
Sure.
So now I'm finally getting these structures in place. I'm finally adding help. I just hired a COO of the team. I just hired another, admin, another assistant, and I'm getting these structures and systems in place to now scale and do more business. But where I was at was just every day is chaos. It's not a good way to run a business. At the end of the day, we are our own business, even though we're 1099 and whatever. But it's important to run it that way, as if you're a Target, as if you're a Walmart, as if you're one of these major companies. So
beautifully said, my man. Well, look, I want to give you a chance of showing my audience where they can find you. So where do they look you up?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just go on Instagram at Dan O'Neil _ DANONEIL _. That's all I got, I think.
Well, and if they want to join your team, how do they reach out to you?
I'd probably say there. I'd probably say DM me. I appreciate you even saying that too. That's very nice of you. Yeah, I mean, that's really the biggest thing is Instagram for me. Listen, TikTok's great, but for me, it's good to be good at everything. But I think it's very important to be great at something and to be known for something. And for me, that's Instagram.
Beautiful. Well, look, Dan, I appreciate you so freaking much. This was an awesome podcast. We're going to sign off here. So everyone here listening, so thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Step One podcast. We hope this episode gave you the ideas, the motivation, the strategies that you needed to take your first step or your next steps in business and in life. Thank you so much. Go out there and crush it.
Thank you for having me. You're the man. This is great.
Bro.